Rise of the Sentinels. It's no secret at this point that what should have been an epic story that advances one of the most significant plot lines in League's lore wound up becoming one of the most controversial moves Riot has made in recent years, and that is saying a lot. Between misrepresenting characters, completely ignoring champions who have significant ties to the Shadow Isles plotline, and failing to even establish a cohesive canon with at least 3 different tellings of the event, it's not hard to see why so many people were upset by the way things were handled. Even the writers have acknowledged that Rise of the Sentinels was a mess. Though to be completely fair, I think everyone understands at this point that the event was ultimately just an excuse to market and sell skins. What makes this particularly infuriating is that there was so much potential here, even with the clear limitations that the writers were put under when making this script. Still, as I'm fond of saying in my usual intro, criticism should always be supplemented with feedback for improvement. Shortly after the event ended, I spent an entire week rewriting the script of the in-client visual novel from scratch. I'll be honest with you guys, these next few episodes are going to be a bit different from normal. When I rewrite a champion's lore for this series, I generally try to keep the current core identity of the character intact, even if I personally would have preferred to take a wildly different direction with it. This time, however, I'm going to be taking a lot of creative liberties. I'm still following the same general structure of the original visual novel, 5 acts per chapter with 1 Sentinel recruit per region, but I'm going to be changing up the roster of characters a fair bit. Some of the Sentinel recruits and even some of the Ruin champions will remain the same, but others will be replaced with characters who I think are better suited to the themes of the story. To that end, I'll also be adding a Ruin rep to some of the regions that never got one. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce my revamped Rise of the Sentinels cast. Rookie. The talker of the team. A rookie sentinel who sought to join the Order just before the harrowing swept across Runeterra. Though young and highly inexperienced, Rookie became the chosen bearer of the Wayfinder, an ancient sentinel relic with the ability to allow swift travel between outposts. What Rookie lacks in combat ability, they make up for with charisma and a knack for words that lets them appeal to others' better natures. Vayne. Having devoted her life to fighting back the monsters that prowl in the dark, Vayne joined the Sentinels to aid in their struggle against Viego and his ceaseless tide of undead. Her years of experience and hatred for monsters of any kind makes her a perfect fit for the Order, though her cold and ruthless personality sometimes puts her at odds with some of the team's more unscrupulous members. Olaf. In his relentless pursuit of a worthy death, Olaf joined the Sentinels hoping that the Black Mist will conjure a foe capable of slaying him at last. Having lost an eye to the ruined barbarian king Tryndamere, Olaf charges headlong into the harrowing with his newly forged relic axes, hoping to solidify his legend in a world on the brink of ruination. Riven. After narrowly escaping Draven's arena with the aid of the Sentinels, Riven found herself lost and seeking purpose. A wanted fugitive in Noxus and unable to return to Ionia, Riven was prepared to wander alone in search of a new home, until she was unexpectedly invited to join the Sentinels of Light. Now she wields a new blade for a new cause, to drive back the Ruined King's forces in the hopes that doing so will at last bring her the redemption she seeks for her past crimes. Shen. When the Black Mist came to Ionia, the Eye of Twilight felt the scales of balance tip in favor of darkness. Seeking to rectify this imbalance, Shen confronted Viego on the beaches of his homeland, only to be overwhelmed by the Ruined King's control over Ionia's spirit. Having narrowly been saved by the Sentinels' intervention, Shen agreed to an alliance between their orders, taking up a relic stone sword in place of his Ionian steel saber to better combat the forces of the undead. Diana. After a near-death confrontation with ruined Pantheon, Diana found her connection to the celestial realm shaken by a blow from the war god's spear. As the aspect of the moon recovers, Diana must take up Sentinel armaments to combat the growing tide of black mist, if she is to ensure that her people, the Lunari, live to see another moonrise. Jace. The self-proclaimed hero of Piltover, Jace joined the Sentinels of Light because he sees the Black Mist as an affront to everything he stands for, a corrupting force that robs people of their free will. Combining Sentinel craftsmanship with Piltover engineering, Jace has upgraded his beloved Mercury Hammer with Relic Stone to better combat the undead. Unbeknownst to his allies, though, Jace wishes not only to save Piltover, but also the one man he ever called a friend. Graves. A lawless scoundrel from Bilgewater, Graves joined the Sentinels for one reason and one reason only: to find his missing partner. When Twisted Fate mysteriously vanished at the start of the harrowing, Graves came to the conclusion that the Black Mist must be behind the gambler's sudden disappearance, and that fighting Viego may reveal his whereabouts. Though Graves' attitude and complete disregard for Sentinel code grates on his allies, he more than makes up for it when blasting through hordes of undead with his custom-made Destiny 3. Rengar. Once the apex predator of the Kamungu jungles, Rengar finds himself now relentlessly hunted through his own territory by the ghosts of his former prey. Seeking to drive out the Black Mist and restore his place at the top of the food chain, Rengar joins the Sentinels to hunt down the one responsible for its invasion, Viego, the ruined king himself. Shyvana. Though loyal to Demacia and its king, years of discrimination and contempt from her countrymen have left Shyvana bitter and spiteful. Now that the Black Mist has etched itself into Shyvana's soul, she embraces the monster that so many believe her to be, burning everything in her path to ash with twisted dragon fire. Tryndamere. When the Black Mist took hold of Tryndamere's soul, it unleashed the fury that he has spent years tempering as king of the Avarosa. Now driven to a near-constant state of berserker rage, Tryndamere is more beast than man, rampaging endlessly and cutting down anyone or anything that dares to get in his way. Even Viego struggles to truly control the ruined barbarian king, instead turning Tryndamere on his enemies and letting the beast run wild. Draven. Little changed when the Black Mist took hold on Draven's soul. In fact, ruination has only stoked the executioner's ego even further. No longer content to be the best in Noxus, Draven seeks the eternal praises of all Runeterra, an undying global audience which can cheer his name for all time, even if he has to perform for the ruined king to get it. Lilia. Once a peaceful and timid spirit devoted to safeguarding dreams, Lilia now devotes herself to protecting one dream in particular, that of the ruined king. Lilia believes that only the beauty and purity of Viego's twisted love can save her mother tree, and restore peaceful dreams to the world forevermore. Pantheon. Through the necromantic powers of the Black Mist, the fallen god Pantheon has returned. Seeking retribution for his demise at the hands of the darkened Aatrox, Pantheon readies himself to wage war on the living world and bring ruination to all Runeterra. Before he can see his ambition to fruition, however, Pantheon must first win the war within himself for control over Atreus' body, who remains stubbornly defiant. Victor. Seeing a new path toward advancement, Victor has embraced ruination as the next logical step in human evolution. Capable of transforming fragile flesh and removing unnecessary emotion, The black mist is all that Victor desires and more. With it, he can upgrade not just humanity, but all life on Runeterra. Gangplank. Desperate to take back his throne as the pirate lord of Bilgewater, Gangplank turned to Viego in a bid for power. Through the black mist, Gangplank has not only resurrected his old crew and ship, but finally acquired the strength to challenge Sarah Fortune's reign over his city. Naturally, these are not the only characters that will make an appearance in my version of the story. Lucian, Senna, Vex, Gwen, and several others will pop up throughout the narrative. While I sadly couldn't fit every relevant character into this rewrite, I did my best to make sure that all the key players got a little time to shine, as well as a few surprise appearances. My aim is to upload a summary narration of each chapter once a week, starting with the prologue next week. I'll be including the actual character dialogue and dialogue choices in the video descriptions, but I've opted not to try voicing the characters themselves because, well, I am not a voice actor. Nonetheless, I suggest reading the full text for a more engaging experience. Well then, thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll enjoy what I have to offer in the coming weeks. Until then, stay safe, stay sane, and get ready to experience the harrowing all over again.